It's time to see how to enable security in microservice world. In this session we can see why security is critical. How we can use JWT along with OAuth works to apply security for microservice. Like other sessions, I am not going to do coding in this session. Rather, we see only from concept perspective. Security is critical because the services we developed within the organization shouldn't be accessible by the public. So, every request should be authenticated first to see whether the user is using the right username and password. Then they need to be authorized to check if he has access to my resources. There are different ways to do it. The old way of doing this is by using the session ID. Here when the client login for the first time, the client will be authenticated and then given the session ID. This session ID will be stored on cookies in client side. Also stored in file format or in database in the server side. When the client try to access the resource, the server will read the session ID from the cookie. The server then validate with the session ID in the server. One of the problem here is maintain the session ID on the server side when we need to scale up the application horizontally. These days, since most of the applications demands the horizontal scalability due to too much of volume, we need optimized way to handle the request from clients. That is why OAuth-based authenticate and authorization is very popular these days. In OAuth we use the JWT instead of session ID. Before covering about the OAuth mechanism, we need to know the fundamentals of JWT. I can go through the fundamentals of JWT in next session.